You know what? I'm only doing this to help you immigrants. I really am. Because it's time to face the truth and stop feeding into the lies and perpetuating the lies told to you before you came onto American soil. You know that those who look like me, particularly Black Americans, ain't up to no good, and all we do is commit crimes, and we're so violent. You know that's not true. And I believe some of you guys believe that to the point where you really do think you guys don't do anything wrong, that you're perfect. Let me give you a heads up. If you were perfect, you wouldn't be here. You would be too clean to be defiled. Listen to this. For the first time, the former slaves provided details about their horrifying odyssey and an intimate view into the world of human trafficking and contemporary slavery. The girls worked in the salons right out in the open in front of customers. They were on their feet all day, sometimes for more than 12 hours, weaving intricate and elaborate hair braids 7 days a week. I think it's hard for people to believe that in 2010, this is the article I found about, we have people who actually put people in slavery, said Paul Fishman, the U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, whose office successfully prosecuted the case. It's the most fundamental and intolerable violation of human rights. I'll be back. Hey folks, welcome back. New subscribers, thank you so much. And hey, when you guys have some free time, check out the rest of the content on the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. Share, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers. You know what bothers me the most about this? By the way, what I'm doing is I'm going to spend a little time gathering information about the nefarious things that a lot of immigrants do when they come to American soil. Because I think it's about time that, you know how people create channels and go to social media and just spend days, months, and weeks and years just putting us down and talking about us. You know, the usual suspects. They actually create whole websites devoted to just saying the most disturbing, horrible things about us. You can't even pay me to go on those websites and read what they write. I did it one time because I was doing a video, and I said I would never do it again. You have to have something in you that is dark and demonic to spend that much time and energy just putting somebody down. Do you know what that would do to your soul? It gotta be something evil in their soul to just spend days, months, and years just all you doing is talking about Black Americans. But they spill it on what I'm talking about. I'm talking about white racist America. What they do is they spill it on to other people. And you guys, you might think I'm putting extras on it when I say they go to, because they're the ones that had the opportunity and resources to travel around the world. If they're not stealing from people, they're doing something. And then we get caught up in the mix. If you ever come to America, don't trust the nigresses. You know what I'm saying? And then they feed into it. Just like Asians, when it comes to Black women opening beauty salons. You see how they dry them out. They bleed them dry. Well, not bleed them dry. They dry them out to the point they can't even buy products and supplies because they won't sell to them. Where you think they get that from? You know, everybody want to keep us disenfranchised so we can keep giving them the trillions of dollars that we spend. So black folks, we got to do better. We got to do better. Do you know how many gifted and talented people we have in our community? We have to start going to them first. We have to bleed. We have to make them go dry. And I'm talking about big corporations, because enough is enough. We didn't gave them too much. But back to what I was saying. That's what bothers me the most, when we are always targeted as the worst. Like, we're the only ones in this country who don't want to work, or who don't work. And then you gotta they're painted as, immigrants are painted as, oh my God, they just wanted to come to this country to make a better life for themselves. They came here with $2, and they turned that $2 into a great successful business for them and their family for generations to come. On the flip side of it, it's like, it doesn't matter how many businesses we've created, communities we've created that were stolen from us or destroyed, we're going to always they're going to always in their mind call us lazy. How do lazy people have trillions of dollars in spending power? How does that even happen? Somebody wrote a comment on the video I just did yesterday, talking about how black Americans helped in apartheid, and we did. Our people did. You got people that are in denial, but if you're so smart, all you got to do is look it up. That information is made available. It's not hidden. When it was happening, when our people was really hardcore going into it to end it, that's all we heard about. And them boycotting South Africa, saying, look, we're not giving you anything. We're not doing business with you. And that's what they did. I remember being in school and hearing teachers talk about it. So you had somebody come in my comments like, oh, you're making that up. Like, oh my God. I'm not one of them people that get online and make fake videos. I have too much dignity, to be one of those just to put some BS out just to get some views. So if I get it anyway, I don't have to justify myself. So this person came up saying some things to me, and I was like, first of all you got to do is look it up. Look it up. Talking about I'm creating this because I'm trying to justify my supremacist mentality and separate some crap. I'm like, damn, why y'all got such an issue with us separating? I thought you wouldn't even give a damn, because that's how y'all act. And supremacy, first of all, you would know about white supremacy, because that's what you allow in your country, and let them treat you like crap. In the meantime, between time, when you come over here, you looking down at us and want to be really closely associated with these people who ancestors have been in your country oppressing you for years, decades. You know what? I'm sure some of you guys already know. How do you really believe that a lot of these immigrants come over here and build their businesses? Do you really think they're just so honest and just law-abiding citizens, right? You really want to believe that, right? Some of these people, immigrants who come here and start businesses, they came from countries that practice just crime. And some of them were fully invested in crime themselves. So that's why it's not hard for them to come over here and commit crimes. The only thing is they're not being focused on like we are. And even though the black Americans who are doing legitimate business, the immigrants who are committing crimes, breaking crimes, aren't being watched like we are. Let me show you this clip right quick.
An FBI raid this morning at a Tahunga compound, possibly related to a TikTok dancing cult.
So we go from that incredible
emotion to a bizarre story that's been featured in a Netflix documentary. Eyewitness News reporter Monica Dianda is live in Tahunga with the very latest.
Philip calling right now. We are on McCrory Street here in Tahunga, and I want you to take a look. This is where that search warrant was executed earlier today. You can see that black fence still knocked over from the activity that happened here this morning. On this property is Shekinah Church. This church was the subject of a 2024 Netflix documentary that faced allegations of manipulation, abuse, and was even accused of being a cult.
Attention, anyone inside? 7744 McCrory Street. This is the Homeland Police Department. Come to the front door with your hands up. We have a search warrant.
I heard 2 loud bangs, like bang, bang.
Oh, I mean, it's very scary. This place has always been curious to me.
Air 7 overhead this morning, moments after the FBI, El Monte Police, and several other agencies made their way onto this property, executing a search warrant for money laundering and sex trafficking. At least 7 people were detained, some spotted sitting along this brick fence. Investigators seen loading possible evidence into this white truck.
I'm just being a looky-loo right now. I'm trying to figure out what the heck went on.
The address of this property comes back to Shekinah Church, which was at the center of a Netflix documentary called Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. Former members accuse the church leader of running a cult-like business via his talent management company, as well as his church. Most neighbors are well aware of that documentary and want to get to the bottom of this. One of the people featured on that documentary now reacting to what happened here today.
We've been dreaming about this day. We've been praying about this day for the day that the beginning of where justice will be served for all the victims, and to hopefully prevent people, young people, joining organizations like this.
By the way, this man is the guy that supposedly runs the church, the church occult, alleged church occult. See how they just be sitting there looking so proud and so haughty and be doing the most. People, this is not new. This is what goes on. Don't you guys, how many people look at SUV and Law and Order, and then you see these people, you know, they might have a segments where, you know, they're in Koreatown or, you know, Chinatown, and, you know, it's you know, they have these gangs running things, and we already know about Mexico, and we know about the constant tribal wars in Africa, and in Russia, you know, the Russian gang. Every single group have their issues and divulge in crime. But those called Black Americans are the ones who are mainly targeted. So I want you to see this other clip right quick before I get into the content. Check it out.
There's an African boycott going on right now because of disrespect to the Black American community. This is about the survival of Black Americans. We're in a competition. Africans and Latinos are fighting Black Americans for resources. Black Americans boycott isn't crazy. It's necessary.
I got that from Tim Black TV, and I thought it was so on point. So on point. And my question is, why are foundational Black Americans, Native Black Americans, the only group in this country who are not immigrants? Why are we fighting for jobs and careers and funding and grants and bank loans? That's the question. My question to you, I want you guys to think about it while you're watching this video. My question to you, Black Americans, are what are you going to do about it? When I was looking at the article that I'm going to read to you about what's actually going on in African braid shops, I found this article turned up while I was doing some research. It's from 2018, but it's very significant. It's current, meaning it's still happening. It's titled 2 charged with human trafficking in North Carolina nail salons. 2 people were arrested on assault charges and are now charged in connection with human trafficking. I think it was like 4 or something people involved, and they're charged with felony assault, or they were charged with felony assault, inflicting serious bodily harm, and additionally charged with human trafficking, involuntary servitude, and conspiracy. So I looked up how many nail salons could possibly be involved in this sort of activity, criminal activity. And they say there's no exact number of how many nail salons in the U.S. are involved as of 2025. But they said it's kind of hard to determine that because it's hidden. They know how to hide this very well. However, reports and investigations consistently indicate that human trafficking, especially labor trafficking, does occur in the U.S. nail salon industry. And I also saw this other article that was telling you how to look out for someone who might be who might be forced into modern slavery. They said they'll appear tired, withdrawn, or do not appear to take any breaks, look younger than you expect them to, seem on edge or afraid, particularly around the manager, does not speak English, look like they live above the nail salon, become distressed when handling money directly. They don't engage with other team members and appear unkempt, disheveled. Personal hygiene may be an issue. Now, doggone well, ain't no in the world I'm going to sit up. Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you the last time I got my nails done. I can't even tell you. It was that long ago. Ain't no in the world I'm going to sit up in a nail salon and you sitting around me doing my nails smelling like you ain't bathed. That's not going to happen. That's unsanitary, first of all. So, yeah, those are the signs to look for, people. Black folks, I know we are not the only one who go to nail salons, but we gotta, how many black nail techs there are? My sister used to do nails. She refused to do the fake nails with the the fake things you put on your nails. She said it's too harmful. But she did manicures. She did gourmet manicures and pedicures. So, you know how many people in our community specialize in this? Why do you guys keep giving your money to these people who don't treat you right? Making them rich and putting their children through college. And then they look, oh God, okay. Let me play you this next clip so I can get into the second article. That article was very short. It wasn't that long. And I was just trying, like I said, the purpose of this video is to talk about and expose what these other groups are doing here and in their country, but people keep shedding negative light on us, and I'm tired of it. I'm telling you, I'm not going out of 2025 with you guys in this racist white America's. We're going to have to put our heads together and figure out how we can collectively get these racist politicians out of positions, get these racist local leaders out of position, and get these complicit leaders out of position, and these useless black politicians out of position, especially the ones who are not foundational. You will not have your ass up there thinking you're going to talk about me and actually you're working against me because your ass is jealous. Somebody said that, I can't even remember the name of this black politician, but he's not black American, but they asked him about reparations, and he said he's against it because his mother can't get it. You need see how these people are? This next clip, the guy in this clip is the one who motivated me to do a little research myself and find out how prolific these alleged modern slavery, human trafficking things are happening in these immigrant businesses. Check this out.
This is the reason why Africans are upset about boycotting those braid shops. You're bringing too much attention to them. Some real illegal stuff is going down at these braid shops. You see this modern day slavery. And this person is from Togo. I'm sorry if I pronounced that the wrong way. I don't speak African. But look, from 2002 to 2007, he trafficked 20 hair braiders, all young girls. Y'all reading this, right? Even the coast they come from, they call it the slave coast. Some real shady business is happening at these African braid shops, right? And this article is an old article from 2020, but let me put you up on some new game. Look at these work conditions. They have these young women working 12 to 14 hours, and they physically assault them. Abuses happening with these women, and they coming from all West Africa. These businesses been from Newark, New Jersey, Detroit. Yeah, some of y'all may be supporting modern day slavery.
See what I'm talking about? And then these be the ones that be talking the most. And the crazy part is they're saying these derogatory things about us. 99%, okay, I can't say that, maybe, 90% of the times what they say is so untrue. So untrue. If you never studied our history, like some of them have admitted they don't study our history or have not studied our history, how could you possibly know what's true or not when you're told things? Just like I don't know too much about your history. So somebody could come up and tell me some things about you that's not true. And if I don't take the time to find out if it's true, I'm going to believe it. And then sit there looking like a fool, spouting something out that's not true. And then wonder why somebody want to knock your head off. If you were in their face, but we already know you ain't gonna talk crazy like that in somebody's face. If you do, then hey, you a bold one. So listen to this article I found that was written in 2010, CNN too. It's titled "Held as Slaves, Now Free." Jesus. And Africa. I guess it's just in they blood, huh? Listen to this. They arrived in the U.S. from West Africa. Young girls held against their will and forced to work for hours on end. But this time, it didn't happen hundreds of years ago. Nicole's journey started in 2002 when she was barely 12 in her small village in western Ghana. She and about 20 other girls were held in plain sight, but always under the watchful eyes of their captors. Open your mouth and say something else. Y'all sitting up here still participating in slavery. Bringing little girls over here to America. Yeah, black folks, we have to stand on business. We can't keep letting these other groups demean us and talk crazy to us. And it was like being trapped, like being in a cage, said Nicole, now 19. CNN agreed not to use her real name. I always have to behave. No freedom at all. The girls' family sent them to the United States after being assured they would receive a better education. But once they arrived, they were forced to work in hair braiding shops across the Newark area, just a short drive from New York City, right in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty. You think law enforcement don't know about this? The girls, who are now young women, have never spoken publicly before until now. It was horrible, said Zena Amvoy, who was 15 when she was brought over from Togo. Sometimes there was not enough food for us to eat. It was like a prison. I was just stuck there. It was horrible. For the first time, the former slaves provided details about their horrifying odyssey and an intimate view into the world of human trafficking and contemporary slavery. Jacqueline was 13 when her family sent her to the U.S., not knowing that a woman she called Auntie was a human trafficker. It was unclear if the woman was a blood relative. You know what? Just reading this is kind of making me angry. It's just because I'm just getting flashes of the comments, these people say. Not just on videos I do, the recent videos I've been doing about, Africans, just being on other social medias and, people just come in and comment saying things. And I'm sitting up here like, what the effing nerve? Look at the effing nerve of you. You probably participating in something illegal as you're writing that comment. Okay, let's go on. My dad worked hard so I could go to school. So when my auntie came and told my family that I could go to school in the U.S., they trusted her, she said. Everyone was happy about it. I'm sure they was. See, that's the problem. If y'all stop lusting over America and thinking everything is going to be so fine and dandy, you wouldn't be caught up in these situations. And I'm going to tell you something straight up, whether y'all want to receive it or not. America's not going to get better for you. It's not going to, and even whatever you think you gained over here, it's always going to be looking better than you, to you, coming from where you came from. But it's not going to be looking better for us considering what we know we had and what we know we could have. Just like I was looking, I heard quite a few people say this, that one reason why a lot of foreigners and don't say much about, situations that might arise in their lives that's not fair or illegal is because they're just happy to have running water. Well, see, we know we can have more than running water, and we've had more than running water. So we don't settle. Okay, let me continue on that. The girls worked in the salons right out in the open in front of customers. They were on their feet all day, sometimes for more than 12 hours, weaving and doing elaborate hair braids 7 days a week. Damn. 12 hours, 7 days a week? Nope. This went on for more than 5 years. We stood there all day just braiding, Jacqueline said. If they want really small braids, you stay there sometimes until 2 a.m. That's every day. At times, they were forced to braid the hair of American teenagers no older than they were. Girls who were free and had no idea the people braiding their hair were slaves. Just like the guy said on a TikTok video, he said, it's a good thing we're doing this I didn't go to African braiders. I have people in my family that braid hair, professional braiders, work with celebrities and public figures. So if I really, really wanted my hair braided, that's what we grew up like. When I was going to school, high school, we didn't have no braiding, African braiding shops. When I first heard about African braiding shops, I was like, why? Why? Like, for real? I wish I could go with them, Nicole said. Most of the time, I end up just breaking down later crying because when I see teenagers going around, going to the movies and just being a teen, I just couldn't understand why my life has to be this way. And one of the many ironies in the case, the customers whose hair was braided by the slave girls were mostly Black American women, many of whom could have been descendants of the slaves brought to America generations ago. You see what did you hear what seeing? They said many of whom could have been descendants. They didn't say all of the women, Black American women who were getting their hair braided could have been their relatives. I told you the ones who know the truth about the true history are white Americans. I've seen many videos where Black Americans said to white people they are natives to this land, and they would come out and say directly, I know. Okay, let's go on. Slavery through trafficking continues widely today in the U.S., though often undetected, according to law enforcement officials. Nicole, Zena, Jacqueline, and other girls were held in groups in several houses around Newark and East Orange, New Jersey. The girls were brought to the U.S. at different times between 2002 and 2007, according to the court documents. As the group grew, the traffickers ran out of places to put them and had to rent more living quarters. The homes were always in the middle of residential areas with manicure lawns and nice homes, often near churches, schools, and community buildings. The traffickers convicted in the case were a mother, father, and son who also come from West Africa, according to court documents and law enforcement officials. Nicole, Zena, and Jacqueline described living in fear shortly after they arrived in the U.S., forced to work by day at the hair salons and sleeping in groups on the floor at night. When I got here, I asked her if I was going to school, and she said there was no school. Jacqueline said, referring to her auntie, the trafficking ringleader. I said, I'm not going to school. And she said no, and that was her decision, and she wasn't going to change it. The captors controlled the girls by beating them, withholding food, keeping them separated from anyone else, and at times through abuse, according to court documents. For some reason, I was hoping that they didn't say they were abused in that way. I just really hope it didn't happen, but The young women who spoke to CNN described years of cruelty, physical abuse, beatings with wood or metal objects, extreme isolation, and sleeping on mattresses on the floors in filthy conditions. Even their phone calls back to their families were monitored by their captors. So they had to be on the phone. Hi, Mom. Yes, everything's great. School. Oh, yes, it's cool. It's I don't think they said cool, but crying on the inside. I always thought of running away, but I know nobody, Zena said. I don't know where to go. Didn't have any friends, nobody to talk to, so it was kind of hard. I had nowhere to go. 5 years after the girls began arriving, U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents received a tip and began extensive surveillance in the house where the girls were kept. After months of surveillance, the ICE agents raided houses in 2007. Inside, they found the girls and mattresses on the floor. The traffickers had hidden bags of money and the girls' passports. Peter Edge had led the team of agents, said none of the girls' customers ever called officials to help. Hundreds of people came into these salons. They probably witnessed things out of the ordinary, said Edge, special agent in charge of ICE Homeland Security investigations in Newark. These girls were shielded from the outside world, virtually hidden in plain sight from everything else that was around them. Edge and the girls said several customers asked about the girls' ages, and the girls, following the orders of their captors, lied and said they were 18. I wish one of my customers would have gone to police, Nicole said. I wish they would have helped me. In the 2007 raid, the ICE agents found a notebook the girls used to track the tips they received but couldn't keep at the hair salon. Ironically, on the cover of the notebook was a picture of the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty was created by a French man, and he built it or designed it to represent free men and women. So the Statue of Liberty has nothing to do with immigration, and it has everything to do with the French designer celebrating the end of slavery. And if you don't believe me, look it up. And I also have a video on my channel talking about it. Oh my God. Some people just want to argue. Because as I'm saying this to you, I'm just hearing the comments. No, it's not. No, look it up. Look it up. It's easier for you guys to look up things now than it was for me back in the day. I actually had to go to a library. I didn't have that at my fingertips to go on. Look it up. Let me go on. More than 2 years later, I'm not going to even say this name. Her husband, Lassis, I know I didn't say him right, but hey. And their son, Derek, were convicted of running the trafficking ring. The woman was the ringleader while her husband and son were accomplices, according to the court documents. In September of this year, that was 2010, a Newark court sentenced the ringleader to 27 years in prison while her husband received 24 years and their son received 4 years. Well, look at it on the bright side. They don't have to go back to Africa. Isn't that why y'all come here? Y'all want to enjoy the spoils of being in America? The girls had to testify against the ringleader in court. I remember crying. All I did was cry. It was overwhelming, Nicole said. I told myself she finally got what she deserved. She did really, really wrong. She treated us bad, and she was heartless. I'm happy she was caught. Court records show the ringleader knew many of the families who girls they lured away to become their slaves. They had an elaborate scheme to lure the girls. The ringleader would approach families of the young girls in Ghana and Togo, where she had connections, and tell the families she would give the girls an education in the U.S. They then used fraudulent visa papers to sneak the girls into the country. Experts say the main reason for most modern day human trafficking is money. Human trafficking is extremely profitable, said Bridget Carr, a law professor and a national expert on human trafficking. The customers at the hair braiding salon where Zena and Nicole were forced to work would sometimes pay as much as $200 to $400 for elaborate braiding that would take many hours to complete. You know how y'all always say black folks are lazy, black Americans are lazy? How the F were they paying you? Lazy people don't have a spending power of trillions of dollars. And I'm going to keep saying it so you can wake up out of your lies. A lazy group would not have trillions of dollars in spending power, fool. They were able to go there and pay your prices. Another reason why black American women are boycotting is because they were tired of y'all switching up the prices, which is illegal, by the way. You can't do that. You can't tell. If you're a business and you give somebody one price, you have to stick with it. The traffickers took every penny made by the girls, both in tips and payments for their hair braiding. They made about $4 million, according to court documents. It's so profitable that we are seeing some drug traffickers get out of drug trafficking and going into human trafficking, said Carr, who teaches law at the University of Michigan Law School in Ann Arbor. Carr heads a clinic that is helping Nicole and many of the other girls move ahead with their lives. Sadly, the work of our clinic is necessary in every community in America, she said. Human trafficking, also known as modern-day slavery, exists in big cities, in small towns, rural areas where no towns exist, in restaurants and hair salons and hotels and in farm work. Almost every industry you can think of, there is an opportunity there for someone to be exploited. This is everywhere in the U.S. Today, Nicole, Zena, Jacqueline, and other girls are trying to move on with their lives. Several are in high school. One has recently been accepted into college. Most of the girls have not been able to return home to see their families in West Africa. When asked why she agreed to finally talk out about such a painful chapter in her life, Nicole says she wanted to raise awareness about what other girls may be going through. I want to tell people that slavery exists, she said. It's huge and it's really happening here. Isn't that something? It never stopped. You know how when I would say, slavery never stopped, and I was basing it on America on paper, it stopped, but it never stopped the way they treat black Americans. Now I'm discovering, thanks to the guy from TikTok, I wouldn't even thought about it. But now I'm discovering that West Africa is still participating in slavery. And they're doing it on American soil. That is a curse. All right, folks, I'm about to shut up shop. And thank you for your time and listening to the complete video. And I hope it was informative to you as it was to me. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing. Sharing is caring. And I will get back to you guys with another video. Have a good day.